because you laid a path for what you think you're going to do, 80% of the time, that path is not going to be absolute 5, 10 years down.
Yeah.
You know, like I tell anybody this, look, you got to look at when you walk into a mountain, like into the woods, don't always take the first path you see. But if you're going to take a different path, make sure you have a sharp enough machete to get through there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what people are afraid to do. They're afraid to just go out of their comfort zone and carve their own path and to be a trailblazer and to embrace, you know, the entrepreneurship of things.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. James Smith Jr., and welcome back to another edition of the Dr. James Show. Wow, this year is coming to an end very quickly, but before it does, you know I have some more super guests that will help supercharge your 2023. And our guest today is no different. I've known Michael Barretta for a couple of years, and we've had some pretty compelling, amazing conversations. And I'm so ecstatic to share his mind, his entrepreneurial spirit with you today. So a picture of him again, Michael Barretta. Michael is the CEO and president of Metropolis Passenger Logistics. And before we bring Michael out, I want to share with you a brief video that speaks to Michael and his team. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Dave, and I am Metro.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I am Metro.
Hi, my name is Josh, and I am Metro.
Hi, I'm George. I am Metro.
Hi, my name is Joe, and I am Metro.
Hi, I'm Mark, and I'm Metro.
Hello, my name is Seven, and I am Metro. My name is Chris, and I am Metro.
I am Michael Barretta, President and Founder of Metropolis Passenger Logistics, and we are Metro.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Welcome to the Dr. James Show, Michael Barretta. It is great to have you spend some time with us. Woo!
Every time I see that video, I'm pretty amazed. My good friend of mine, Mario Alvedo from Alvedo Media, you know, we put that together in less than 24 hours, and just it's the epitome of what Metro is. And I'm really excited. Every time I see it, just gives me a little bit chill.
With that said, everyone's saying, I'm Metro, I'm Metro, I'm Metro. What does it mean to be Metro?
You know, we started in July 2019, and we started 6 months before. Who would have thought we'd be living a Michael Crichton novel with the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And the company, yeah, I'm the owner of the company. There's no doubt about that, and so forth. But you know, it's not about me. You know, I always believe that, you know, if you're going to build off a brand, you know, you got to have everyone buy in on the brand, and that's everybody that works in the company. That's all your employees. That's your partners. That's your clients. Got to buy in on the brand. And you know, our green logo with the green M and so forth, you know, it sticks. It shows who we are and what we do. And you know, every day I just, you know, whenever I talk to people, and I ask them about, you know, what they're doing for a company and so forth, I just say, just remember, it's all about Metro. It's all about Metro. It's not about me. It's about Metro, because I'm just another gear in the whole gearbox of how this machine moves. And as long as I can get all of my staff, all my partners in the same mantra of embracing that, we're ahead of the game every day.
How did you get them to embrace that? Your team, your clients, how did you get them to buy in, to embrace the Metro philosophy?
Well, you know what it comes down to? I'm just lucky I have some people who worked with me for a long time. I have staff that have worked for me, in essence, almost 20 plus years in different
Mm.
incarnations wherever I've been at. And I think that was probably one of the best winning solutions I had when I started the company. I didn't have to deal with the growth pattern of getting a team together and having everyone trying to figure out their slot and their position in the company. It's kind of like the old slogan they say, getting the band back together again.
Yes, yes.
That's exactly what I was able to put together. I mean, I started out with 5 founding employees. My payroll from day one was $250,000 a year to start from day one.
Ooh,
But I knew I was bringing on board good quality people, both on my front line as well as in my operations, that we could be able to build off of. And we've had such a long relationship of working together. And I think that was just one of there's no way to explain it except that we were just very, very lucky in getting that together and putting that formula for a staff.
well, having experienced Metro, I could I can easily vouch for the level of service, the friendliness, the charisma, the timeliness of your drivers. It truly is an experience, and all of them show up the same way.
Yeah, I mean, it's I stole this line from the Ritz-Carlton. The first day of training at the Ritz-Carlton, they sit you down in a room and they say, "You are, ladies and gentlemen, working and taken care of, ladies and gentlemen." Okay. And we try to embody that every day. Now, is it going to be perfect? Of course not. You're taking 3 fallible components of what we do. The first 2 components is our employee, which is human and is fallible. Then you have the customer, that's human and fallible. And in a mix of that, you also have machinery, which is fallible, right? So we have to try to orchestrate those 3 denominators every day in order to make a winning equation to be successful. Now, are we always successful? Of course not. I mean, again, when you have those 3 types of denominators in place there, it's hard too. But we have more wins than we have losses.
Yeah.
And just keep on going.
Take me back. You said you launched the company July of 2019, and then March of 2020 is when the lights went out. Now, for me, the lights went out. Unfortunately, I was one of those speakers that did not have an online presence at the time. I've certainly pivoted, but in-person speaker, in-person coach, trainer, educator, everything was in person, and I wasn't ready. I didn't plan for the pandemic. You were moving into almost 1 calendar year. Actually, it wasn't even a year into your organization. What were you thinking? What did you tell the team? People weren't necessarily traveling as much. What was your approach, and how did you keep everyone together where you've been thriving ever since?
So it's funny, if you go 2 weeks prior to when the shutdown happened, right? My industry had our annual convention in Las Vegas. Okay. Everybody in the industry thought they were on top of the world. The business travel was optimal. Everyone was making money and everyone was doing their thing. They were leaders of industry in their own markets, the whole 9 yards. Then as we were leaving, you start seeing people at the airport all with masks and so forth. And you get home, you have the shutdown on this. I think it was the 15th or 16th. It was right
Right before March Madness. Yep.
And literally at that point, like, it was boom. But for us, it was very weird because we have 2 clients that actually got busier. They actually gained more rides per day and more revenue with our company. One of them is a very large cargo airline carrier. And what happens, we all witnessed it during the pandemic. If you can't go out to shop, You get to shop from your computer,
That's right. That's right.
right? So in essence, all the cargo carriers, the FedExes, the UPSs of the world, they started booming. I mean, booming beyond belief. And that was great for us because we handle in this one carrier, we handle 20 different markets for them for all their crew transportation, you know, from airport to hotel, vice versa, and so forth, because it's a necessity for their flight crews, right? So we, in essence, we got busier. We actually added vehicles. We added employees in a pandemic. Now, when I tell people this, especially my colleagues, they're like, yeah, right. How can you be busy? How can you got to be dying? You're lying, you're lying, you're lying. And I have a close inner circle group where we share financials. It's a leadership group, entrepreneur group. And they're like, dude, how are you doing this? How are you like, what's the secret sauce? I just keep telling them it's dumb luck. I could not have planned to have pandemic proof clients.
Wow.
And
So you're telling me it wasn't a mindset, it wasn't a strategy, it wasn't a huddle up, let's bring everyone here together. Now we got to suck it up, we got to buckle up.
Oh, dude, we definitely strapped the chin straps on.
Right.
I mean, I mean, let's get it twisted. I'm going to twist this thing here. We lost 40 to 50% of our revenue. Okay. So, in essence, a 2-year period, I went from, being in black and paying back all my debt, from family members that helped me start the company and so forth in less than 6 months. Right before the pandemic, I made my final check out to my mother-in-law, right? You got to rework it and you got to reframe your mind. But luckily, my clients are under contract with me, and I'm a little bit of rarity because I always try to get my clients into contracts and binding contracts for revenue, because I don't like to go off of speculative revenue when I build my business. I want to go off of predetermined, predisposed revenue that's going to be coming through consistently. I could be able to have I sleep better at night knowing that I know I have these things in place. As long as I provide the service, it's there, right? So with these 2 clients, I had contracts in place and they got busier. And one was a very, very large medical group, and they got busier because their doctors were in quarantine in different positions all over the Delaware Valley area, moving them all over the place, and that was wonderful. And then with the flight crews, so in essence, we knew we had to cut the fat. But the best part about this, here's the best part about this: we didn't have much fat to cut to begin with because we just started out.
That's good.
So literally, we learned from the get-go to run lean and mean. So as we added on things and we get more revenue back, it was gravy. It's been gravy. Because you fast forward to today and yesterday and whatever else, it's like every day there's people knock on the door saying, I need your service, I need your service, I need this, I need that, I need that. And it's not just here. You know what we do. We operate in over 4,000 transportation centers across the globe. We manage transportation for people. So I literally fielded a phone call from someone I never met before from Alaska and said, and they're a pipeline engineering company. Like, we're doing a 5-city tour with 500 people in each city for these meetings, and it's happening in 2 weeks, and we need to have logistics from the hotel to the convention center and dine arounds and everything else in between. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, really? Like, yeah, because a lot of people in my position, like in my industry, can't accommodate that. They're not prepared to do that because they're still getting out of the hole for the last 2 years of the pandemic. So we're not the biggest company. I love branding us boutique. I love branding us boutique.
Yes.
And we're a boutique shop that kind of survived when the tidal wave came through and wiped most people out.
Love it.
So like they like a movie, I love Forrest Gump, right? What happened with him and Captain Dan, right? Right? Goes out on a shrimp boat in the worst storm in the world, comes back, he's the only shrimp boat. Before you know it, bubblegum shrimp is formed, right? So I mean, I love looking at it that way. And but at the same time, though, it's always a challenge.
It is.
I mean, I love being an entrepreneur.
Why?
And I love it more now than I ever did, because I've had businesses before, but I've been minority partner, I've been sweat equity, right?
Yeah.
I might as well just been an employee,
Right.
because I had great ideas then. Not to say I'm a great idea person, but I had great ideas that if we implemented then would made us a lot more money and clearance on things. We never implemented because I had a minority share. Now here I am today. This is my company, and my decisions have made us get to a point where we're killing it. We're doing amazing things, and it's not like we're marketing everywhere for this in this company. I mean, my business. I told you my philosophy before. I don't spend on SEO. I don't spend on marketing. I don't spend, on frivolous advertising. I invest in people. I invest in my relations, my circles. So my investment is my relationship and good relationship I have with Dr. Jim. I know I do service for Dr. Jim, and I know if Dr. Jim raves about me, he tells one person, comes
Yeah.
back to me, I've done my job.
I'm raving.
Better be.
Michael, I'm gonna show a video. And actually, it's a video that you shot. I want you to tell me what you were thinking then and what you're thinking now about this particular video. Let's take a look.
Hey everybody, Mike Beretta here, Metropolis Passenger Logistics. I am currently in Center City. The time is 5 of 7, and I am right here at City Hall. Normally this time of day, this would be mobbed with cars and buses and so forth. Behind me is the Notary Hotel. Of course, there is the Masonic Temple. And very interesting what's going on here. It's a whole different world. The only people I really see in the streets right now are homeless or people that might have some problems. I just witnessed I don't know who it was, individual lean against City Hall and squat over and start peeing. That was awesome. We're in a different world right now. Just I think this is the bottom. I truly think that this is the bottom. I think there's an opportunity for us as a city, as a region, as a country, as a world to really do something better, not just for ourselves, but for our neighbors, our strangers that we don't even know, that are, also our citizens, our co-citizens. Let's make this world a better place. Oh, here's the first vehicle. Just went by there. Probably a cop. But just let's do the positive thing here, guys. Let's start planning for the greatness, and let's not play catch up on what we do. This might be from Metropolis Passenger Logistics. Love you.
Wow. Take us back then, and where are you now? Let's not play catch up. It's time to take advantage of the greatness.
Yeah. When I was there, I was driving that morning for some of the flight crews, and I was looking around City Hall, and that same area is the same scene that a movie was filmed called 12 Monkeys in Philadelphia way back there with Bruce Willis. And it was a scene where you saw an abandoned city, and you saw a wild giraffe walking down trotting down Market Street right behind me where that was. And that just inspired me to just make that video. It's like, it almost was apocalyptic, the feel of what was going on. And, I always feel when you have an opportunity to face adversity, go through adversity, and be at the bottom, that embracing the new and the new light gives you such a great opportunity to kind of have the refresh, right? I mean, no one knew. I didn't know. No, I didn't have a crystal ball. No one knew that this thing was going to take over 2 years for the adjustment and to kind of get back to a pre-pandemic world. And, after a while, it's funny how we as human beings adapted to this whole thing. we became numb to it, and even today, I mean, you still, I call it, the Stockholm syndrome of some people. They're still afraid to come out. They're still afraid. If they do come out, they're wearing masks, they're wearing gloves, because they just been embedded with the idea you cannot get, it's dangerous out there. The COVID is everywhere. You could see it. It's on the walls there. It's floating on top of you. It's kissing you. It's touching you, right? And I mean, like, I guess I have a different mindset, and I respect everyone's opinions, but look, our bodies, our environment is bombarded by virals and virus infections and everything in the world. If we really knew everything that was floating around us, I mean, most people would be living in a bunker 50 feet underground and be pale and decrepit and blind. Okay. So, my mindset was, I'm out there. If my staff is going to be out there, I'm going to be out there every day. And we made sure we took every precaution. We were testing our drivers every week. We were making sure that we had every disinfecting opportunity available for our customers.
Sure.
And, like, now I look at it, it's like, it's in the rearview mirror, and in us as a society, we're so quick to have short-term and long-term memory of a bad thing. We had the reminder of it, and we just want to move forward. We're human beings naturally like to congregate. So there's a majority of us that have gotten back to, like, we're both members of the Pyramid Club, and we're in there, we're engaging and so forth. And there's still a little bit of a group that's still cautious, and what's the next thing? And am I gonna walk around the city and breathe the air and drop dead? You just don't know. And I can't live that way. I love life. I love everything I'm doing. Like I said earlier, I love being an entrepreneur. And the best part of being an entrepreneur is, I love my family. I love taking care of family. And my employees are part of my family. And, I love knowing every day I wake up, I got 30 plus families that are responsible for me to make the right decision to put food in their plates. For their kid to go to school, for their kid to get, the new video game at the GameStop or whatever the case may be, whatever it may be. I wear that with a badge of honor. And, and every day I can go to sleep and know I wake up that, it's another day. It's another win for not just me, but the Metro brand, my team, everybody. And I love that. So, the pandemic, look, there's a lot of people that put conspiracy theories out about this whole thing, red versus blue, liberal versus conservative. I don't do anything. I am gray down the line on anything and everything, right? But I will tell you this. It happened once. It's going to happen again.
That's true.
And you just got, it's just like, when Bryce Harper's up at the plate, he's swinging.
There you go.
There you go. He knows he's waiting for that low end slider, so he can just pin that in the back right field corner there. And sometimes he'll swing it, sometimes he won't. When he connects, and just and just sometimes you get curveballs, sometimes you get beat. You can't control if you get beaten sometimes.
That's true.
So
I love that. I love this question from the audience. Question is, in general, outside of some good fortune, what would you cite and summarize are some things to do to grow a company during adverse conditions like a pandemic? Or how do you even prepare? Again, in general, outside of some good fortune, what would you cite and summarize are some good things to do to grow a company during adverse conditions? Or how do you even prepare?
Well, last time I checked, Barnes & Noble didn't have how to prepare for the pandemic 101, but I mean, like this time in these last 2 years, there was no right or wrong. I truly believe that a lot of decisions I made were from here versus here. And, yes, in business, I am analytical when it comes to business and numbers and so forth. But at a certain point, the numbers and so forth didn't make sense according to the trends that were going on around us in those 2 year period of time. So you kind of had to shoot from the hip and kind of, gut it a little bit, and you had to gut in and you had to take risk. When you're in a very risky situation, it doesn't hurt to take some risk yourself.
Absolutely.
And you got to play it by the numbers. Everything to me is 50-50. I'm either going to win at it, I'm going to lose at it. There's no in between. So shooting from the hip, I've been very fortunate, as a small business entrepreneur, that we were able to navigate this thing and come out pretty well on the other side. Right? Am I great right now? No. I mean, believe me, there's a ton of problems I'm dealing with right now. But that's just as I expand and grow my business. It's growth pain more than the pandemic pain, right? But the hardest thing you do when you're in business, I feel, and I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs in a lot of different industries, is everyone tells you they don't know what to do, or they're trying this and I don't know, and nothing's working. I can't hire people. You sometimes you just got to take off your skin and you got to figure out a new set of skin and put it on there. And you just got to, do it's something I call the 180 view. You have a problem in front of you and it's a challenge or it's an individual, and there's a need or want out of that challenge or the individual, right? And we automatically as human beings adversely always put that wall up and say, okay, what do they want? What's their goal? What's their agenda? I always try to take a second or two in the back of my brain, or even a little bit more longer time than that, and I put myself in that situation's position, individual and so forth. And I look at me, what I'm presenting, what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to get from you, whether it's mutual or beneficial, whatever the case may be. And then I start rehearsing the adjunct, the negative effect of what I don't want to hear.
Right.
So if I'm trying to role play or I'm trying to vision quest, I want to be able to try to have every thought or plausible condition on the other side of the no, or the variation of the no, or the resistance back.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of entrepreneurs don't do good with resistance. They don't do good with the no. And I love the no. That just makes me work harder to get a yes out
When
of
you get the no, that means it's on. That means it's flip it. It's on.
Look, if it was easy, everybody would do it. If people said yes to everything you did, it's just you're moving through life. But look, when I have my white whales, from Moby Dick and Ahab, right?
Yeah.
I had these 5 white whales I've tried to chase after as clients for over a decade. Okay. The top 5, I could tell you in the last 4 months, 3 of them are now doing work for me.
Ooh.
I'm doing work for them.
Ooh.
Because I've been told no for years. And then all my competitors are telling them no, they can't service them. And by the time they get to me, and I'm saying yes, say, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. This is what we need. And before you know it, they're dumped on with you and they're engaged with you and you're personal and you take care of them and they take care of you. It's a win-win. So being an entrepreneur, you cannot be afraid to take the risk and you can't accept no.
I love what you said about, you're still dealing with stuff and you're still moving forward. There's no in between. And when you said that, I thought about a lot of us live in between lives, in the meantime lives, rather than, as you say, just going for it. Now, I subscribe to that. I live my life walking on a tightrope with no net. I guess because I'm an entrepreneur too. But that in between resonated with me in that many people live there. And I always say there's no neutral. You're going forward, or you're going backward. And your comment about in between is so right on.
Well, I like to use this reference. There's some entrepreneurs that want to be a leaf in the wind. And there's some entrepreneurs want to be a sonic jet. Right. And, there's times where you have to be a leaf in the wind. You got to go with the flow of the wind and so forth. And there's other times where you have that agenda to get from point A to point B, or that task, that thing. There's nothing stopping you. You're that darn hypersonic jet and you're take off. Nothing stopping you. You're getting from point A to point B and it's going to get done. Mission accomplished. So, I mean, and that's hard to train. I mean, I'm fortunate. I'm competitive. You know, I've played football in college, pro a little bit. You know, I've been a professional wrestler at one point. I tried acting for a little bit. You know, I've tried a gamut of a million different things, all in my 20s.
Mm.
Right. And I realize now in my mid or late 40s now. Yes, I'm young, but I don't look at look at this gray patch here, right? But I realized that you can't sit back and be a voyeur to the visions of your dreams.
Mm. Prophetic.
You know, like, you know, be your own director, be your own actor, be your own producer. Lights, camera, action. Get out there and do it, man.
Starring in your own movie. Write the script.
Every day, every day. You know, I mean, like I look. You know, do I regret? Of course I do. I'm human. You know, do I wish I made one different mistake here, there, blah blah blah. You know, and you know, whatever the case may be, of course. But you want to know what though? Like I don't sit back and cry on it.
Sure.
My wife says every day, and my wife works with me in the company, and I mean, husband wife duos in business is hard. It's hard, but we do it. And at night, you know, she gets so invested in the clients, and you know, if there's a service failure, it doesn't happen often, or like, you know, the client might not be happy with one thing, so she beats herself over. She's like, how can you not be so beat up over this? There she is.
Is that her? Is that her?
That's my ride or die right there.
No, you're ride and live. You don't want to die. It's just ride and live.
Look, I outkicked my coverage on her from the day I met her. So, you know, I mean, I know that, you know, but, you know, I mean, but, and she's starting to get into the use of the grind of what we do, and we're dealing with customers. And and she's like, how do you have such thick skin over this? And I said, look, I've been told no way more times I can remember. I've heard every scenario of excuse of how an employee could have done one thing wrong or the other. You know, it doesn't surprise me because I don't live in the past or the now. I live moving forward. You know, it's to me, a failure is not termination. It's not, you know, putting someone up on a cross and crucifying them. You know, to me, failure, it's about coaching. It's about readdressing. You know, I'm very guilty of giving people several chances that work for me. And I'm guilty because I'm also human. Because guess what? I make so many darn mistakes on a day-to-day basis, and luckily my staff doesn't see it because I fix it for the next day and I move forward. So I'm not perfect either.
Wow.
But, you know, I surround myself with great people. You know, I've been very fortunate to add some amazing staff over the last couple of months, you know, operationally and so forth, because, you know, as an entrepreneur, as you start getting bigger in your business and your scale, I need to start getting to a point where I'm working on the business instead of inside the business.
Yeah.
So I'm getting people that are amazing, dynamic people that could watch several functions or different functions inside our business. So I could work on the overall growth and trajectory of where we're going. And that's all I can do.
Love it. Michael, before we share some photos of some of your cars and some of the people in your team, I want to address this question that's out there. It's, why do you think it was more important for you to invest in people, which has paid off for you, over the measures like traditional marketing? So again, why do you think it was more important for you to invest in people, which has paid off for you, over measures like traditional marketing? Did someone tell you to do that? Did Michael Sr. say this was the serum for a great team? What's the why behind that?
I've been fired before from companies. You know, younger in life and so forth. And I've had amazing bosses. I've had some pretty crappy bosses. And I realized I got more length of knowledge over time from the good bosses than from the bad bosses, of course. But the bad bosses taught me something. They don't know how to be a leader themselves, and they don't know how to motivate people and how to coach people. Because if I was unable to be coached or motivated in their eyes, and they passed on me and they moved forward from me and so forth, I think that was their problem. It was their inability to be able to identify talent and to identify, you know, how to use a person the right way. Because just because you thought they were one way, you couldn't try to reconfigure them to work a different way inside the company for you. So, you know, I use that as kind of like what my my fuel,
Yeah.
because I don't want to be known as the bad boss. You know, I mean, we do some things here that none of my competitors do when it comes to support for staff. You know, I can't say no. And you want to know what? I think that's part of my human element, because I know what it's like to have your boss say no and, just have a cold shoulder to you and move on to the next thing and so forth. I mean, no is not a vocabulary, but there's a way to, if I can't do that specific thing, there's got to be something else I could do to make up for that somehow, some way. Right. That's in the best interest of them. See, I try to do one specific thing. I always want to try to remember a specific conversation I have with every employee in my company. And I want to know something that makes them tick. Okay. What's something of pride to them? Some might be their kids, some might be their antique car collection, some might be their book collection, or, hey, I'm going to out to do the Renaissance fair this weekend, and they dress up as a mange knight or whatever the case may be. So I don't talk, a lot of some of my staff I don't talk to often, I try to, but when I see them, say, hey, how's it going? Are you being safe out there? It's like, hey, when's the next Renaissance fair going on? When are you still the mange, or are you going to be a knight, or what do you? And they're like, oh, we had this great opportunity last weekend and we were out there and I almost got the king, and then out of nowhere the queen came and stabbed me and I had to start all over again. I mean, I don't know half of what he's talking about, but guess what? He was so excited to share it with somebody that now you have that interconnection.
Yeah.
Right. And I loved it. I get goosebumps now just thinking about it, like that, he's able to just feel like he could talk to me, and it's something personal to him that he's relaying to me, and we have that bond. So then, when you have that bond with your employees, not to say you have to be their best friend or, say, hey, let's go out and, party here, that really, no, when you have that bond of understanding, you remember special, unique things about them, it goes so much further when you ask them to do the extra.
That's good. I call that front seat leadership, because I believe what you have in the front seat of your car are the things that are most important to you, not parts of the car, but your phone, your sunglasses, your water bottle, your keys. Those things are in the front seat with you, which means they're important. And if you can get into the front seat of all your employees' life cars, what makes them tick, what makes them go, what makes them slow down as well. And just looking at you physically, you are an imposing, strong, big man. And you got everybody just in love with you. I love it.
Look, it's not about love. Just, it's about mutual respect. I have all walks of life that work for me. I have people that come through the door, they retired for 40 years as a county manager, don't need to work a day in their life, but they want to stay busy, they want to keep in the grind, and they want to keep engaged. I have individuals that walk through here, divorced, ran amok, don't have 2 pennies to put together and so forth, and they need a chance to be a part of something. I always call my frontline staff, and all my staff, we're the United Nations of a business. You don't need to have a PhD to get behind the wheel. All right. You don't need to have a doctorate or any of that stuff like Dr. Jim does, but I tell everybody this in interviews. I say, look, there's 2 things I'm looking for. Are you a good person? And you have old school work ethic. Okay. Because let's be honest, that's taught by whoever raised you, mom, dad, whoever the case may be. Okay. They teach you that. I can't teach you that. Okay. I can teach you everything else about this business, but how to be a good person, both to you and people around you, you can tell right away, right? Old school work ethic, that takes a little time to get out there, because there's a difference.
You mentioned it's old school work ethic. Based on my research, it tells me that you've had that entrepreneurial spirit working since you were 5 years old.
My dad and mom thought I was nuts. We lived in a neighborhood. We lived on the outskirts of a neighborhood that was a very nice neighborhood, and a lot of people had, in-ground pools. And I was riding my bike one day, and I saw an old pool skimmer on the side of the road to go to dump, or like the garbage pickup. I want that. I want to do that. I remember my friends down the street, they had this pool we always went to. And one day I was outside and I started looking around. I was being a little weird. This is back in the day, you know, you're a young kid and so forth. People weren't worried about people looking in yards. I started making this map out of pencil and paper of all the people on the street that had pools. Right. And then I just went and knocked on the door and I put a piece of paper and I just said, "Hi, I'll clean your pool. What do you want to pay me to clean your pool once a week?"
Wow.
And little you know, like it started out as $1 or $2. I go in there with a skimmer. I get my bathing suit. I go and scrub the sidewalls and put the chlorine tablets in and so forth. And it got to the point where I got pretty good at it. I literally made a trailer out of my little beat up BMX bike I had. I had my own shock with me. I had my own chlorine tablets. I had, you know, my skimmer. I had cleaners, the whole 9 yards. And I did it for like 2 or 3 summers. And then, you know, I got older and realized I was into other things and so forth. And, you know, I worked at a gas station and I did all sorts of things, man. But yeah, I love that. It was like my parents laughed at me, but they fed it, you know. I mean, they fed it.
Cool work ethic. I love it. I want to quickly show some pictures of your fleet and some of the folks on your team. As we put the pictures up, just tell us what's going on here.
So like these pictures are taken at a country festival we did, I think, out in Chester County a couple of years ago, maybe, and so forth. So, you know, a lot of our fleet is these high-end executive shuttle vans. We do a lot of contract work with these, you know, and they're people movers, you know. So like, you know, it's funny, like the pandemic has made people want to be more exclusive about who they travel with, right? There's a new trend calling out called travel tribes, right? Where it's groups of 10 or less that like to travel together. They're going away on vacation, or they're going to a concert or to a festival, or a case may be. And those types of vehicles are perfect because they're not these expensive limousines, you know, setups and so forth. But it's great when you have a professionally trained chauffeur. You know, you have, you know, ice beverages in there, non-alcoholic. That's on you to, if you want to bring it, of course, right? But it's just it's better than trying the Uber and Lyft option that so many people are so used to now. And I'm not knocking Uber or Lyft. I did in the beginning, but I realized something. Uber and Lyft kind of changed our mindset of what transportation is.
Yes.
Right. So, you know, I embrace these mid-sized vehicles, like these 10 to 14 passenger vehicles, because Uber and Lyft don't have them, right? So like, you know, instead of getting multiple Uber drivers and you're risking the idea of like one knowing where they're going, the other two getting lost for 2 or 3 hours, whatever the case may be, you know, you hire us and we can be able to get you from one point to another as a group, all in one vehicle, you know, and in a safe, professional manner, and then return you home at the end. And, you know, it's like, it's that mindset now. So like, you know, that's a sweet spot to people that like to go out. Like, think about it. Like, you know, like anytime you have a group of friends that you travel with and so forth, that group now has become pretty reclusive to the point where it's 12 or less.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, it's something we dial in on, and, you know, people love it.
I love it. You talked about your team, United Nation. We got a photo. Tell us what's going on here. What's happening in these photos?
So this was Labor Day this year. You know, I always try to give back. So we did a cookout. It was an employee appreciation. They could bring their friends, family out, and so forth. We had our neighbors come out, and, you know, I just sweated on the grill and, you know, flipped some burgers, and, you know, I cooked for everybody, and we had a whole bunch of different things there. And, you know, it's the little things, you know, I mean, like, it's, you know, some people look at it like, oh yeah, it's just a cookout, but, you know, I mean, like, anything you give back above and beyond a paycheck.
Sure.
You know, like, I mean, like, there's a lot of things I do, and I'm not going to sit here and talk about it and be bragocious about it. You know, that's what I do. But, you know, like, I mean, anything you could do to get back more on a human level than the boss level, you know, I mean, I love doing stuff like that, you know. And, you know, like my new office manager, Susan, like, she even tell me, and she's like, well, you know, you're celebrating 3 years in business, so I got you a Metro cake with the logo on it and so forth.
I love it. Hey, next year's cookout, let a brother know. Let a brother know.
We're going big next year, but I'll invite you. I'll invite you to the client party that we're doing. So that's coming up in the.
You talk about giving back. we have a video of, it's a video that has moved me because of one of the people that's in the video too. It's a charity. Let's take a look and afterwards talk about how you felt then, how you felt now, and why the Variety Club plays a key role in your organization. Let's take a look.
Mike Bretta, Metropolis Patch Logistics. Today we are over with our friends at Variety Club, where we just did our. This is Harry Giordano.
Hi, everybody.
Where we just finished up doing our fundraiser for my Macarena dance.
And look how much he made.
There you
Hold up,
go.
there it is. $500, yo.
So we love being able to take care of our charities, as Variety is one of them. Harry's an amazing person.
Nah, I learned from him. I learned from him.
But always excited to get back to the community. And if you get the chance, you come down to the new Fashion District here, the old, what's it called back in the day? The old gallery. Variety Club is doing a free gift wrap paper.
No, free.
No, free.
For
Okay.
a donation, whatever you want to donate.
Donate a lot to Variety. So
We're here till Christmas Eve.
do it Christmas Eve. So come on out, support Variety. They're doing some amazing things. This is Harry's other half. Hello, other half.
Here's my work wife. Kristen, say hi to the people. There you go.
So very excited. Happy holidays. A lot more.
Merry Christmas,
exciting
Happy
news to come.
Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year.
Going too soon.
You get me choked up on this one, because I don't think you know the background to this. So that guy Harry Giordano, he used to work at Gift of Life. Then he went to Variety Club about 8 years ago. He passed away this last year, and he is just somebody that you gave him a task to raise money, for Variety and so forth, and talk about someone that didn't worry about walls to stop him. He'd grow wings and just fly, and yeah, he passed away a little over a year ago, and he inspired me to make sure that I'm doing the right thing and so forth. And there's a couple of us that we're close with him and so forth, and we're trying to set up a charity 501c in his name called Harry's Kids. He's very close to my wife and I and many people. He was such a dynamic individual, but he makes you want to donate and do the right thing. And between Variety Club and with Ronald Dollhouse, those are my two go-tos every year. We do a toy run, for Ronald Dollhouse every year. Variety Club, they pick up the phone, we do it. Ronald Dollhouse, we do it. It's for the kids, it's there's not much I could say about that more. You got to be involved in the betterment of society. Whether you're involved in education, or helping out educators, get to the next level of, reaching kids, embracing the minds and the hearts and having their trajectory go in a positive direction. And if you're not involved in the education, you got to be involved in the philanthropy.
That mindset really is reinforced with our next picture. Of course, I got it from your wall, which means it's something you stand for, but it's Dr. Martin Luther King. And I'll read the quote that's there. Let's take a look at the picture and I'll read the quote. "The time is always right to do what is right." Why does that resonate with you?
It's, the trajectory you put yourself into, it's, you always gotta, do what you would do for yourself for others, and it's, I've gotten phone calls at 2 o'clock in the morning in desperate need of help for something somehow from a client. my daughter, she's lost and she's on campus somewhere. She doesn't know where she's at. She's in a different state. You know, can you help me? Can you help me? I don't know what to do. I'm, you know, and I literally got out of my bed, and my wife asked me where I'm going. So I got to take care of Sue's kid. And, you know, I went on campus, I found her and got her home, and, you know, and just, you know, usually, you know, most companies would charge for that. I'm not gonna charge for that. That's, you know, it's your kid. You know, I mean, like, you know, you're in panic mode because, you know, they're supposed to be home and they're still in high school and they're partying somewhere in a college somewhere. And, you know, I mean, like, I would want someone to do that for my kid.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Absolutely. Going back to the audience, what advice do you have for a leader leading a diverse staff or a business providing services to a diverse customer base? That is older staff people and customers, younger staff people and customers, serving executives, serving blue collar customers. So the question is, what advice do you have for a leader leading a diverse staff or a business providing services to a diverse customer base?
Wow. I think about this all the time. It's so funny. It's like, you know, like I said before, we're the United Nations of employment here. You know, diversity is so profound in what we do here because, you know, we have individuals that would never rub elbows with celebrities and, you know, and CEOs and leaders of industry and so forth. And, you know, literally 2 months ago, they were, you know, down their luck and they were bankrupt and they had nothing. They didn't have a pot to piss in, you know, and here they are. They're, you know, they're cleaned up and they're wearing the Metro logo with pride, and they're going out there, and now they're the favorite chauffeur for one of the CEOs of, you know, we deal with. You know, I mean, like, you know, just because someone looks on the outside like someone you wouldn't hire does not automatically disqualify them from giving you their all effort and being someone that could be a superstar. You know, superstars come in all shapes and sizes. And, you know, a superstar doesn't have to be LeBron James of basketball.
Sure.
You know, a superstar can be the unknown you'll never hear of, but in the background will sit there and support everybody every chance they get. You know, so I love the idea that we have such a diverse commitment to our staff and to our clients as well too. It's kind of funny, and I'm not trying to knock my industry, but, like, you know, you go on my webpage. It's very important. It was very important for me to put out their position statement and a diversity statement about what we do. And I did an audit and I looked around at all my competitors and so forth, and I realized, like, Jesus, no one is doing this. Why?
Yeah.
I mean, because we literally hire people that could be off the boat from another country 6 months and they got their green card and they speak excellent English, but because they don't fit the part, they don't want to hire them. But meanwhile, this individual was escaping persecution or the idea that they were a doctor. They were a doctor in an African country.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But their doctorates isn't recognized in the United States, and they can't be able to get insured as a doctor in the United States, and they're bringing their kids over and their wife over, and they don't have nothing. And he has no ego. You know, he wants the American dream. He wants to be able to get out there and engage and so forth. I'll feed that every day. Look, a person like everyone, man, I can't tell you how many times I heard people say, "Oh, I don't understand what they're saying," and they have a very heavy accent. I was like, well, let's do the 180. Ask that employee how many languages they speak besides English. Okay.
Good.
You know, like I have some employees that speak 7 languages. I have a hard enough time mastering English. You know, you want to talk about intelligence? You want to talk about patience and practice?
Wow.
Think about that individual there. You know, and I just, you know, we as a society just got to really just start breaking down these norms of automatically putting people in the buckets.
Yep.
You know, don't put everyone to a bucket. Have everyone swim in the same pool, you know, and share the same water and just, you know, the same sunshine. And, you know, the cream rises to the top at that point. You know, I look, I could sit here and I'm gonna get my Pope, you know, but I've, you know, ever since I started learning about DEI and the policies that go into that, I've been really making sure that even myself, you know, it's when I'm practicing fair and equitable to everyone that is in my sphere of influence, my employees, my partners, my clients. And, you know, believe me, man, I tell you, you know, you'd be amazed how many people just have that hidden resistance that you'll never know that don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Now, were you raised that way, or did going to Temple play a role in creating that? You Temple made, man.
Temple Challenge, man. That was a Temple Challenge. Look, I'm going to tell you something. So I went to Temple. I got a degree in criminal justice and minor psychology. I didn't do nothing with it. All right. You know, here I am today. All I could say is that my minor I actually was 3 credits short of also getting a minor in theology, believe it or not. Yeah, you know, but that's a conversation for a couple of cocktails over the club one time. We'll talk about that. But you know, when it's all said and done, and I think this is going on track with our whole entrepreneurial thing, right? Just because you laid a path for what you think you're going to do, 80% of the time that path is not going to be absolute 5-10 years now.
Yeah.
You know, like I tell anybody this, look, you got to look at when you walk into a mountain, like into the woods, don't always take the first path you see. But if you take a different path, make sure you have a sharp enough machete to get through there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what people are afraid to do. They're afraid to just go out of their comfort zone and carve their own path and to be a trailblazer and to embrace, you know, the entrepreneurship of things. To me, every day it's a football game every day. You know, it's a chess match every day, and you know, you just got to figure out how to move your pieces the right way. And you know, sometimes you're gonna lose, sometimes you're gonna win. You know, you'll get better.
Oh yeah,
it's practice.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned your work team. We have a picture of another team of yours, another dream team. Wanted to make sure before we finished our interview that people saw this dream team. Let's take a look at this particular photo. Yeah. Tell us about that dream team.
So my son in that picture is 7 years old. Now my wife is 5'6", I'm 6'3". My son is 9 years old. He's already 5 foot.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's bigger than my mom now. My mom's a little Italian woman, right? Love her to death. But you know, everyone has their own life story, right? And I realized that my younger years, when I was with my parents, you know, when my parents were together in my younger years, my father instilled in me things that I teach and practice with my son today. And, you know, it was the simple things like be a gentleman, hold the door open for people, always say ladies first. Look, look, whatever people want to say about it and so forth. There's no chivalry is not dead.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, and my son surprises people all the time. We'll go to a diner for dinner and we'll sit there and he'll open up the door and he'll wait for 5-10 people to come in out and hold the door open. And people are like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Like, it's like chivalry is dead. And you want to know what? I taught that in him. And I'm proud to say that because he needs to be an example for the next generation moving forward. Because there are some good things from the past that you get passed on generationally. And the most important thing is be a good person. You know? And he's, you know, like my son's a rock star in his school. Like, you know, we go there and like we'll go for a parent teacher conference and we'll go in the hallway. Every hey Dom. Like he's like mayor. That's his nickname, is the mayor. Like everywhere he goes is like, you know, and like he knows it. He knows how to work people. He knows how to engage people already. It's scary.
Apple doesn't fall far, huh?
I guess. But you know, I mean, the true heart of everything though in that picture is my wife. You know, I mean, she, you know, she doesn't realize, you know, she takes a lot of crap for my dedication for what we're doing here at the company and so forth. And I told her, I was like, you know, having a new business like this is like having a newborn child, you know, and we're 3 years into this thing, and a newborn child, you're just starting to learn how to speak and talk and feed itself. It's not able to fend for itself yet. So
Yeah.
we need a couple more years before we can truly just let this kid just grow up on its own and do its own thing, and and she's got tolerance, because I'm a workaholic, man. I one of my mentors, taught me a long time ago. He was from New York, came from a very prominent Jewish family that owned a lot of the shops in Penn Station up in New York there. And we were walking around one day, going to a couple hotels, and he says to me, he says, listen, very thick Brooklyn accent, you need to understand something. When you walk in there, you have a New Yorker's mentality with a Southerner's hospitality, and you'll win every time. New clients, they'll love you every time. And his name's Lyle Goodman and so forth. I think he passed away last year, but it's certain things that I picked up. I'm so blessed that I've had some amazing mentors from my father and some of my bosses and people that I've just that all have given me that little nugget that I've been able to put into this nice little package, and it helps me just identify and realign every day, to move forward. Because a lot of what you're doing moving forward is realignment every day. I mean, you can't.
Absolutely.
It's like a boxer, right? So everyone wants to be Floyd Mayweather, right? Razzle dazzle and so forth. Not me. I want to be Jack Johnson. I want to just stand up straight, 100 rounds all day long, punch it out, but I'll stand on top of you at the end.
Wow.
I'll win. Knuckles out, face all out of alignment. I want to be a Jack Johnson.
Wow.
And
that is
like,
awesome.
like you see back here, right?
Rocky.
You heard this phrase before, right? The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, we're talking about a fictional character here, Rocky.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, did you know back in 1992, they did a survey poll in Philadelphia? 42% of the people that filled the poll believe that Rocky Balboa was real. That was in 92. I'm sure it's different now. But I mean, that was a made-for-movie quote.
Yes.
But it's so darn true, man. So
it's so true.
I have that over my desk every day.
When people come to Philadelphia, research suggests the most visited tourist attraction, the Art Museum steps, the Rocky steps. People nearly 50 years later keep going back. Michael, time has flown by. We're about to wrap up, but with our show, we have a tradition. Since I'm a speaker, we ask our guests to give us a 15 to 30 second mini keynote. You said every day you're giving nuggets. One more time, let's give our audience some nuggets to finish the year, to start the new year, just about life in general. I'm gonna get the mic ready. Mic check. Next voice you hear will be that of Michael Beretta, founder, CEO of Metropolis Passenger Logistics. Metropolis. Go for it, Mike.
Picture yourself as an artist, and you need to take today and the next rest of the months into the end of the year and create a new easel, get a new piece of paper, new parchment, pick your colors. Don't go too complex. Start with some simple strokes, some simple design, trace it out if you need to, but architect a new way to find success for yourself. Create that picture, how it's going to embody you and what you do on a day-to-day basis. And guess what? Just like any other artist, You might have to start over again in 2 days because your vision changes. But no matter what, just keep forward focusing it and you'll be fantastic and you move forward.
Mic drop, bam. Michael Beretta, founder, CEO, leader, Metropolis Passenger Logistics. Thank you for making time to share your wisdom, your experience, and your nuggets. We really, really, really appreciate it here on Dr. James Show. And for our viewers, our guests, I told you, another phenomenal, compelling show where we provide informational and transformational experiences. Watch this again and again. When you watch it again, bring somebody with you the next time. It's good stuff. Like we always say, take care, and you've just been Gym-Packed.